are rising to the challenge and, let's just call it what it is, kicking Donald Trump's butt in court. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, the Trump administration is losing in court a lot. Let's look at the new reporting. This from NPR. Headline: a second federal judge has ruled to block the Trump administration's spending freeze. And that article begins: a federal judge in Rhode Island has ruled to extend a block on the Trump administration's attempt to freeze payments for federal grants and other congressionally approved government programs from taking effect. Thursday's preliminary injunction is the second by a federal court blocking the spending freeze. The order marks a victory for Democratic attorneys general from 22 states and the District of Columbia, who filed suit against the Trump administration over its efforts to pause trillions of dollars in government spending in order to evaluate whether those programs aligned with President Trump's policy goals. In his ruling, U.S. District Judge John McConnell Jr. said the spending freeze fundamentally undermines the distinct constitutional roles of each branch of our government. The judge continued, the interaction of the three co-equal branches of government is an intricate, delicate, and sophisticated balance, but it is crucial to our form of constitutional governance, Judge McConnell said. Here, the executive put itself above Congress. It imposed a categorical mandate on the spending of congressionally appropriated and obligated funds without regard to Congress's authority to control spending. Now, friends, you don't need me to translate that from legalese to English, but I'm going to do it anyway. What we just read there is essentially the equivalent of Judge McConnell saying, duh, Congress authorized and appropriated, directed that money be spent in a particular way. Congress is the branch of government that has what we call the power of the purse to direct the spending of money, not the president. So Donald Trump's interference by instituting a spending freeze is unconstitutional. It violates the separation of powers. He disregarded Congress's authority. Or, again, put a little more succinctly, duh. You know, somebody ought to give Donald Trump a copy of Separation of Powers for Dummies. So why is it Donald Trump feels comfortable, emboldened even, to act unconstitutionally in this way? Well, friends, to answer that question, I think we actually need to go back to the original Trump show, Trump Part 1, his first administration, as opposed to the sequel in which we are currently embroiled. And we're going to need to revisit an infamous phrase uttered by Donald Trump to President Zelensky. I need a favor, though. Remember what that was all about? Donald Trump virtually held congressionally appropriated funds that Congress had directed would go to President Zelensky. Why? So he could defend his country and his people against unlawful Russian aggression. This money was right there, virtually in Donald Trump's hands. And instead of delivering it, what did he do? He said, I know you want this money. I know you want to buy missiles to defend your country and your people, but I need a favor, though. I'm going to need you to announce what we all came to know was a bogus investigation of my political opponent, Joe Biden. So he withheld and leveraged congressionally appropriated funds for a dirty political favor, and for it he was impeached. Now, he wasn't removed in the Senate trial on those articles of impeachment because, Republicans will lay down and let Donald Trump walk all over them, thumb his nose at congressional authority. Separation of powers be damned. And so that may be part of the reason Donald Trump now feels emboldened to again violate the separation of powers, just completely ignore congressional authority to appropriate, to direct, to spend money, Congress's power of the purse. It would sure be nice if Congress would rise up and assert their own co-equal branch of government powers and tell Donald Trump, no, you don't get to override our decision to appropriate funds. We have the power of the purse, and you don't get to snatch it from us and use it for your own purposes, whether those purposes are nefarious, personal, political, or otherwise. But can we expect that from congressional Republicans, actually standing up for their own co-equal branch of government powers? We haven't seen much indication of that yet. It'll be interesting to see just how far they let a corrupt president push them or victimize them by running roughshod over their powers and their authority. If the Republicans in Congress ever care about standing up for their constituents, standing up for the people of the United States, standing up for democracy, at some point before Donald Trump takes us all the way down the path to dictatorship, they're going to have to stand up or they're going to have to give it all away. I still retain some hope that they will stand up. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.